the concept is if you don't ask, the answer is always no, right? So if you don't pose the question even to the universe, the answer is always no.
The squeaky wheel gets the grease, bro.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Martial Mind Podcast. I am Ryan, I'm here with Ed and John, and we asked ChatGPT to come up with Kung Fu questions, and we're going to talk about our favorite one and answer it. Stick around.
So yeah, when I was trying to think of what we wanted to talk about today, I got the advice from Sifu Leo to use ChatGPT for my business. So I was like, let me see how, because I never used it before. This is like literally my first foray. So I just typed a rundown of like, hey, you know, like we have a podcast. We all train Shaolin Kung Fu. There's 3 of us. We like to have deep, meaningful conversations and talk about different kinds of topics and all relating back to Kung Fu. And, you know, could you pose 3 different questions related to what our normal topics are that might spark discussion between the 3 of us on the show. And 2 of them, it's pretty cool. 2 of them are pretty much what we talk about all the time anyway. But the 3rd one was interesting, if we can pull it up real quick. Our favorite one was, Shaolin Kung Fu has a rich history of integrating spirituality into physical training. How can the practice of mindfulness and meditation within martial arts lead to profound spiritual development and a deeper connection with oneself? And I think this is an aspect of things that is probably the most difficult thing to learn. You know, they say the internals is the hardest to learn because you really are wrestling with you, and it's just so minute, especially with movement, it's so minute. But at the same time, I think this is a point that we can all miss. I think we spend a lot of time, the 3 of us especially, like beating ourselves up for like not being where we want to be, not training enough, not accomplishing certain things that we want to accomplish, potentially not living up to what we think we should live up to, you know, not being as disciplined as we want to be, when really all those things become easier if you can kind of look inward and kind of form a better relationship with yourself, which is the aspect of the training I feel like is lost on people who just fight. You know what I mean? Like if you're just in it for the fight game, you see it coming back around though, because now it's everybody's got different. They have their yoga, and they have their meditation, and they have their jiu-jitsu, and they have their Muay Thai, and it all goes together when it all exists under one roof in a good Kung Fu school.
So I think it is very interesting though that I think we have spoken about this a lot, that martial arts is a great kind of tip of the spear for integrating spirituality into a physical practice because it can come through in many areas. It can come through in art, it can come through in sports, it can come through in really any sort of physical endeavor. I think though those other endeavors outside of art maybe, but other physical endeavors I think require more of a holistic perspective on it, outside of just like thinking of like winning or like fear or like not as much of those kind of like base level wants or those base level reactions. I think there is something very interesting with martial arts, and again, there's a spectrum to all of that. There are good and bad kung fu schools that integrate the internals and the externals properly. But I definitely think, especially in our school and our system, there is a great spiritual element to it, and the spiritual element for me is not just. I take a somewhat more holistic approach to what that means. It's not just like physical is punching and spiritual is standing there and breathing. It's like, for me, it's also just me having a great understanding of myself and my growth and where I was and where I'm going to be, and my interconnection, the interconnectedness between me and you guys and everyone who's around me, and how my growth affects those other people and their growth affects me, and kind of that interplay of, you know, the physical and the spiritual, and so it's not just like physical stuff, meditation. Like there is kind of this more, I don't know. I think it's, to me, the spirituality of the training has much more to do with the interpersonal part of it and the introspective journey, on top of the actual what people would consider the spiritual part of Kung Fu, which is like Tai Chi and meditation and sitting posture and standing posture and things like that.
So, John, what's spirituality to you? What does that mean?
Spirituality. I think it's an important way that I kind of think about spirituality is self-awareness and just kind of like being able to be conscious enough to be aware of your actions and like within, reality or life. And I guess that's kind of like the overall gist I get from spirituality is kind of like understanding the self to a point where you can think beyond the self.
So kind of like identifying with yourself as a consciousness outside of just
I think
your physical being, or like
seeing yourself in other people, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, what is spirituality to me? I'm trying to articulate it. It's not exactly happening right now. It's like, I mean, understanding that there's more to what.
Well, it's a complex, confusing topic,
Right, but for me, it's like understanding that there's more than what we can see. There's like,
okay, that's a good way to say it.
More than just like, it's being aware that you are part of a bigger picture, essentially.
Yeah, and not to be conflated with religion too, because spirituality and religion don't necessarily have to be so intertwined with each other. I don't feel like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like religion is like a set of rules, and then you believe in like all these rules and these doctrines, and when spirituality can be a little bit more personal, a little bit more kind of like how you're feeling and what's going on inside of you as you connect deeper with yourself.
Oh, no, go ahead, sorry.
No.
I think also, even to that point, spirituality also doesn't always need to be conflated with the, like, religion isn't spirituality, it's different, and it's like, look at my drug rug sweatshirt, and it's just like, but it's like that, where it's like, no, it's like different with crystals and all this stuff, where it's like, that could be an element of it 100%, but it is, I think this is kind of what I was getting at when we were talking.
Yeah, well, I know what you mean. There's like this new wave of like culturally appropriated spirituality where they pick and choose the bits that they like from like lots of different religions. It's like that's who the caricature of Aldous Snow is in Forgetting Sarah Marshall, when she's like yelling at him for like all his different tattoos because she's like that one's Indian, that one's Buddhist. Like, what do you fucking believe? You know what I mean? Like,
is that Russell Brand's character?
I think it's Russell Brand's character. Snow. Yeah, Aldous Snow. Yeah, because he's just like the character is just like a pompous ass who has all these different tattoos and belief systems of all these different like religions and nations that have nothing to do with one another, and he's just like, it's just kind of like how I feel, you know what I mean? And it's but it's all bullshit, and they don't actually believe anything.
Right, but you did mention before with religion having like sets of rules and doctrines and being a very limiting thing, and like I've kind of been thinking about religion in a different way recently, in a more spiritual sort of way. That in the Bible, I really don't think it's a legitimate story, and I don't think it's like a rule book.
You heard it here first. The Bible is illegitimate according to John Gordon.
No, it's not meant to be viewed. I don't think it's meant to be viewed as a plot from like a beginning, middle, and end. I think that it's all metaphors. There's a lot of meaning behind even like looking at the story of Cain and Abel. God didn't think that that Cain's sacrifices were legitimate or genuine, and so he's not rewarded. And so I think there's something important about legitimately sacrificing and compromising, and those rewards come back to you. And through Cain's jealousy, he killed Abel, and so that's like there's a real powerful meaning behind that, and it's not really meant to be a story of two characters. It's necessary, like it's more or less the meaning behind the story than the story itself. So that's kind of the way that I've been looking at the Bible.
As if not seeing Cain and Abel as two literal people who literally existed and literally did those things, but more as an allegory for what jealousy will do to you and how you'll be viewed kind of by God or by this universal consciousness, or how things will then treat you if you're not genuine with the things that you're doing. If you're only doing a favor for somebody because they'll do a favor back for you.
Right, when you're acting selfishly and not willing to give, like. Didn't mean to repeat that, but it's kind of the way that came out.
Well, no, I get what you mean. You're not willing to. You're not giving just for the sake of giving. You're giving in order to receive.
Right. Looking at things spiritually and having that self-awareness and viewing the Bible and religion as more or less not a story with a beginning, middle, and end, but as a series of metaphors that are kind of, you're able to look inward and understand more about yourself and your psyche by measuring the meaning behind those stories. So that's kind of the way I've been perceiving
I like that a lot. Yeah.
So
John finally did something good.
I'm trying, man.
Because John
Kidding.
sucks most of the
You
time.
always say John's always like doesn't talk for like 20 minutes and says like the most concise thing. Like he's just been loading what his response for the past 15.
I'm buffering, dog. Like I'm in a constant state of buffering.
Just that spinning Mac wheel, just like
The wheel of death.
no, that's the rainbow wheel. Just the one that's just like when things are loading.
Then it's over. Then you just got to throw your MacBook into the river.
Yeah.
Find a river, throw it into it.
But Ryan, what does spirituality mean to you?
I think,
and you are correct me if I'm wrong. Are you not a religious person? I know you got your family, your churchgoers, and
I would say I'm more of a kind of more again on the spiritual side of things than on the specifically religious side, technically. But it's hard. I mean, it's I feel like I maybe have some type of relationship with kind of God and Jesus on that side of it, and kind of the angels and saints. But it's not a very like strict. Like my parents have like especially my mom has like a very like strong relationship with like Jesus. Like she has a very like But for me, I kind of was. We went to church a lot when we were younger, me and my sister, and then as we got into high school and college, that became clearly a lot less, close to zero. And then I started at Kung Fu, and then I kind of moved more and branched out to more of a kind of general spiritual understanding. And to that point, and it's also specifically John's point, the way that I look at spirituality is again kind of through the realm of it has less to do with kind of these rules and regulations, and it has more to do with a state of mind and state of being, and how you both treat and perceive yourself, those around you, and the world around you. I think is really what's important. And I think that's why martial arts especially is such a good kind of like tip of the spear area for that, because it forces you in such a very concentrated way to look at yourself for you to improve like it is. And again, that is true with other things, of course, any other avenue or things like sport, art form, discipline, skill that you want to learn. But I just find with martial arts, it is such a concentrated piece of like it is like just such a concentrated form of what all those other things have kind of under the surface. It is just like this, just really trying to achieve supreme skill for yourself and overcoming your past self, and it just, you are laid out to bear in such a vulnerable way if you allow yourself to be. And that is really where the true kind of growth within martial arts, both on an individual level and a martial level, comes from. And I think kind of through that process you become aware of yourself, and I think that's kind of raises your, one of the ways that kind of I feel like your consciousness level actually gets raised is you being first more aware, understanding, and accepting of yourself. And then kind of something similar to what you said, and this is kind of the way I took it, is then, through being more conscious of yourself and of your consciousness, then you are able to impart that same courtesy and understanding of consciousness in others.
Right. Every drop in the pond causes ripples.
Yeah. And you can see yourself in other people. Like there's so many times like I've become much more understanding over time of where I see people and I'm like, like of course I can get mad about that. And sometimes of course I'm just like, someone cuts you off on the highway and you tell them to go fuck themselves because you spilled something on your pants on the way to work. And it's like, that happens. Of course it happens.
I had a pastor once that was like, there's a reason in God that didn't give us superpowers like throwing fireballs, because even me in traffic, I'd be murdering people left and right.
Yeah.
And it's, you feel those things. I don't think that there's any one emotion that's a problem. It's when those emotions start to run away with you. And I think that's the point of the monastic lifestyle, is to kind of separate yourself from environments where you're going to be distracted by those emotions. It's not so much killing those emotions, but you adopt a monastic lifestyle and kind of give yourself to the temple so that you can see what life is like without these worldly distractions, and then really focus on looking inward and connecting with whatever you think source may be. Or obviously if you're in a monastery, then there's obviously a very defined idea on what that source potentially is, you know what I mean? Like, but at the same time,
unless you want to die,
but we're taking pieces of that lifestyle and incorporating it into the regular everyday.
Yeah.
So it's like Sifu Lloyd would always say, like, like when you walk through those doors, you're walking into the Shaolin temple. So you have to, you walk in and you need to be not pious, but like, I feel like everybody starts that way and they come in and they want to be like this, and then all of a sudden they're themselves when they're on the training floor. But the more you can kind of center yourself and kind of learn about you and conquer your reactions to things, start responding instead of reacting.
Yeah.
That comes, I think, through the spiritual aspect of the practice, because you see lots of people who get really into physical training and really into martial arts, and they become monsters.
Right.
You know, fucked up people end up leaning towards martial arts a lot of the time. You know what I mean? People who have issues, people who are looking for answers, people who need to change their lives and make something of themselves. I'm one of them. I'm 100% one of them. You know, like I had a lot of issues that I dove into martial arts, and not like it cured them, but it made me a better person, and it made me more able to deal with those issues.
And I think for me that's where that approach to spirituality is not just, again, like crystals or like nirvana or God, or it so much of it is, as I think, and again, I have a very baseline,
keep a selenite wand in my pocket at all times, you know?
Like I have such a super basic understanding of like someone like Jordan Peterson's idea of spirituality, which for me is, again, this very like more like close to home, like grassroots understanding, where it's not like physical world, spiritual world. It's like, no, it's like spiritual world is kind of like, again, it's like metaphor and allegory, and like we are these things that we talk about, and it's all inside of us, and it is this like attaining the highest good, and like that whole aspect of like improvement, and like and looking to something for the, you know, looking to the ideal as a modicum for something to shoot for, and having that thing be something that's good. Perfect example, like again, like kind of merging that with like what you were saying about the temple. That's also why I think that like a martial art, you know, the martial arts and our martial arts school and the martial arts school in general is something that, you know, once you kind of walk through the door, you see, if you allow it to, how you act in the martial arts school. It's the school kind of showing you maybe gaps in areas that you can improve upon outside of the school. Like I know for me, like, you know, and I think everyone's probably like this, you know, the level of respect that we have for our teachers can sometimes not always pass back to like our parents or our loved ones in a way that probably should be. You know, and again, I am.
That's a deep point. That really is a deep point.
Yeah, like that's something I literally had that thought yesterday. I was at, and I remember, and I said it to myself. I was talking to, you know, Sifu about cleaning. You know, like helping cleaning, and just we're immediately like, oh, what can you help with? Can you help with anything? And like me thinking about going home, and like at times like my mom asking for help with something, and I'm like home from a hard day of work, and I'm like, can I just fucking just sit for a sec? Just give me a, you know, and I'm frazzled, you know, and I'm like, and don't get me wrong, I am not trying to toot my own horn, but I'm someone that like, you know, I try to help out at home. I love my parents dearly. I tell them so often, you know, I'm, you know, any way I can help them, you know, but there is that. You know, it just it was a kind of a looking in the mirror moment for me, where I remember I had that thought, and I walked up to one, and I'm like, I can't fucking, you know, I need to have the school, I need to be in the school outside of the school.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
I need to be in the school outside of the school, and that's something that I need to work on. And again, I'm not talking a night and day like fuck you, mom, you piece of shit, and then like in the school I'm like, hi, I'm Tofu, how are you? Like it's not like that. But just those moments.
There's a lot of that goes on too.
There's
a lot of that goes on. There's a lot of people out there who pretend to be something that they're not.
Fucking grifters.
Yeah. But it's and this is something that I think I have wrestled with at certain times in the past, but I think recently it's become very kind of, I don't know, you know, it's kind of just lined up in my maturity to think about it, and my ability to kind of intake it is that idea of like, I need to bring the temple with me when I'm not at the temple, in the sense of my mindset towards other people, and again, I would say typically I have grown quite a lot in that area, and I think we all have, you know, in our ability to, you know, self-understand, self-love, self-respect, and then trying to bring those things, carry those things out into the world from the from the school or the temple, and to allow as much of that courtesy towards other people as we can, in a way that is both allowing for there to be a room for understanding communication, while also having that martial element of self-respect and self-defense, and not getting walked over. I think that is the real beautiful line that martial arts toes, is being as peaceful as possible, knowing how to do damage, and knowing how to be violent so that you don't have to be, and that you try to avoid it, but while still having the confidence, but that knowledge of self-defense and violence allows for a certain level of confidence and self-respect to not be walked over, or to not let others be walked over.
It's also so really difficult to achieve that, not to step on your sentence, but it's also so difficult to achieve that skill. You have to kind of have some kind of pride in yourself. So again, it's about, getting a healthy relationship with the ego instead of letting the ego run wild on you. You can't kill your ego. That's not a real thing.
Yeah, it's just...
And I think that there's a danger as well to watch out for, because sometimes people are looking for a spiritual place. They're not religious. They're looking for kind of a spiritual home. And the same thing happens in churches, where it just becomes really cult-like, because you're clinging to answers and you're clinging to meaning and you're clinging to something that makes you feel more full than you had felt before in your life. And all of a sudden this place and this person who's providing this space and who's like the Grand Master and the great teacher, and you see a lot of these people, and like whether or not they can fight, whether or not they're martially skilled, it doesn't make a difference, because you can still be really martially skilled and also be really manipulative and kind of use people. And so there is something, like, as a student looking for a school, something to watch out for is to take everything with a grain of salt, which is also why we have so much respect for our teachers, because they're just who they are. They don't try to hide anything. They're not going to like tell you their life story the second they meet you, but as somebody who's known them for a decade, like, that's who they are. That's who they are. Who you see online and who you see in interviews and who you see, like, that's just who they are.
I have to say that is one thing about them, is that, like, from what I've seen of them outside of the school and getting to experience them outside of the school and in the school, there is not this, like, they walk on the phone, they're like, hello, how are we doing? Blessings, many blessings to you today. Like, they're just like, motherfucking goddamn it. Like sometimes they'll have bad days.
There's a time
and
for
like,
everything. There's a time for everything. That is a practice, and you can't just exist like that. And it's a facade to believe that even a monk, like, even a Shaolin monk is like this all the time, and he's never just, like, taking a hairy shit one day, just like, I mean, like, why the fuck is this my life? We don't even have baby wipes here. This place sucks.
Fight for his life back there, man.
Yeah, seriously. This has, like, some bad bok choy one day in the middle of the temple kitchen that's got left out for a little too long, and next thing you know, he's having a hard fucking time second-guessing his life decisions, you know what I mean? Praying to the porcelain god. And it's like, we all go through it. And that's what makes us human, and, like, that's like kind of like the hilarity of the human experience. That's why I think we are who we are as people who like kind of joke about everything and see it for how funny it is. Because, like, Jenny and I were having a deep talk the other day, and we were talking about meaning, and we just went through everything that we went through, and like, we're sitting there talking about meaning, and I'm like, nothing means anything. She's like, what do you mean nothing means anything? I'm like, everything's made up. Everything's made up. Everything you see is made up. Houses made up. TV made up. Lights made up. Cameras made up. Monogamy made up. Polyamory made up. Religion made up. Everything. Every fucking language, words, sounds, noises, who we are, t-shirts made up. Everything is invented. Nothing exists, and nothing has meaning unless you attach meaning to it. Nothing means anything except for the meaning that you give it. Right? So that's, to me, what spirituality is realizing that, like, everything is just, like, existence is kind of hilarious. We're like bacteria living on a grain of sand floating around a fireball. It doesn't make any fucking sense. The atmosphere just stays in. Just cause. You know what I mean? Just cause. The planet's core, it's made of iron, and it makes electromagnetism that, like, keeps, like, energies in, that keeps the gases in so that you can breathe. What? That's fucking crazy. You know what I mean? Like, really think about that. That's insane.
Google how fast the Earth is moving.
And we can't find another planet like it. At all. I mean, obviously, like, the amount of space that we've searched is, like, I heard a good analogy. It's like taking a glass of water out of the ocean and being like, yep, no fish. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I checked everywhere.
Yep, no fish.
I checked all in this glass. There's no fish.
So it's like, so obviously, like, there is that whole thing, and, like, I think it's called the Goldilocks principle, where it's like, we can't be the only ones, and like all the millions and trillions of stars and galaxies that there are out there. Yeah. In the infinite universe. Not to cut you off, but I'll let you get to that in a second. I just want to finish my point. I'm sorry.
No problem.
But it's like, it's so ridiculous that all this stuff just works and just so happens. So it's like, how can you sit there and let your day be ruined because somebody took too long to order ahead of you in the coffee shop? You know what I mean? It's like, just let the shit go.
Perspective.
Life is hilarious, and I think that spirituality kind of gives you a little. The ability to detach yourself from the physical representation of who you are, and you can kind of separate yourself, like a spiritual practice, a practice in which you are connecting with you. You're not connecting with your body. You're not working on your muscles. You're not worried about calorie counts. You're not worried about technique or punching or kicking or looking good or being good or acting good or saying the right thing or writing your book or making your YouTube video. None of it. You're not worried about any of it. You're just connecting with the essence and energy that is you and just focusing on your breath. And it kind of gives you a second where you have make these connections and these realizations that you are not you. You're not your body. You're you. And what that is, we have no idea what that is. What that consciousness is, we have no idea. And we are all experiencing that together.
Right.
You know, we're all experiencing that together. And it gives it makes you realize that we're all in it together, that there is no national boundaries, like that we're all just living on this rock at the same time, experiencing the same things. And maybe the news isn't everything that's happening. You know what I mean? Like little things that makes life a little bit easier and makes you kind of a beacon of light for the people that are around you, where you can kind of be a grounding point. I feel like it helps you help other people through helping yourself. If that makes sense.
Agree.
John.
Yes. Well, as you guys were talking about Sifu and just how genuine they are, and it's like what you see is what you get.
John's buffering from 10 minutes ago.
Oh yeah,
just loaded. The video just started playing.
Yeah, no. So this has been ruminating a bit within my spaghetti alien monster piloting the Meat Gundam, also known as my central nervous system.
Meat Gundam is my favorite thing to call the human body.
Yeah, it's an Ed term. Ed coined it. I'm not taking any credit for that. That's all you, brother.
Gundam. That's so funny.
Yeah, 100%.
But basically, I once heard somewhere that God, instead of being some kind of deity or like a man in the sky that watches you masturbate, is
that was great.
I know God is
He's just like,
is the embodiment.
turn the hand over, it'll be better, I swear.
Wait, open a new tab.
Open another one.
You gotta check this out. No, but so God is basically, instead of viewing him as a man in the sky, kind of like the gatekeeper, you know, the guy with the rule book who's jotting down all the times you did a naughty. I've heard somewhere that God is the embodiment of truth. So, and when you act on the embodiment of truth, you conjure up the spirit of truth, or what you see as true. Not like, I don't mean to channel the term like it's my truth, you know, because that's bullshit. Like there is a truth or it's not, you know, and what the truth is a center point in being an honest person, you know, and so, and when you act on what's true, you're inherently acting on what's good.
You inherently feel better.
Right, because if, you know, the term living a lie is you're not acting with the truth in mind, you're hurting yourself and everyone around you when you're not embracing the truth and acting on it. And conjuring up the spirit of truth is essentially what, you know, like what God is supposed to represent, to me at least, you know.
It's like when Jordan Peterson's talking about, like, you're in hell now.
Right.
You're in hell now because you know, regardless of the facade that you put on the outside, you're in hell now. It's not about later that you're going to be punished. It's like you're being punished right now.
Right.
Yeah. Like, there was more to it than that, but it's like, it's essentially, if you
take your time and get there.
Yeah, no, it's just, but if you're not an honest person, people can freaking tell and they don't like it. You know, like there was one time when I was on, just for my buddy's bachelor party, went on a cruise, and they had karaoke. My friends and I like to sing. And there was one DJ they had.
Just picture John drunk being like, you lost that love and feeling.
Well,
oh, that love feeling.
Yeah, basically. But and so there was this one DJ who he was this duplicitous, like, he always talked with the DJ voice, you know.
Yeah.
But he like you could tell it wasn't.
Nobody talks like this.
Hey, thanks for coming to karaoke, and like, so we put in for one song.
Welcome to the Martial Mind Podcast.
Anyway. So, and we put it for a song. We all sang, and more people put in for their songs. And I wanted to do another one, you know, because it was like 7:30. The night was still young. And he's like, sorry.
Not at my age.
The machine is broken. Look, it's frozen. It's not working. I'm like, but it's playing music, and people are singing along. It's not fucking broken. He's like, I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do. And I'm like, this guy's fucking lying. Like, this guy is lying to us. You could just say, hey, man, we're not taking any more songs. You know, it's okay. You know, we have enough. You could just fucking say that. But he's like, no, the machine's frozen. It's not working. I'm sorry. Please come again tomorrow.
Because he's avoiding conflict.
Right, because he's not looking the truth in the face. He's not acting on behalf of the truth.
He's a big bitch.
Yeah, he was being a big old bitch, and I didn't like it. The following night, they had another guy who was a student. I think he was like earning college credits, like in hospitality, like being aboard the cruise, and so he's like, yeah, man, just, we're only doing one song a person tonight, so that's where we're at. And even though the same barrier was put up, we're only saying one song,
Right.
and that was
Your reaction to it was different.
It felt better. It was like, well, thanks for telling me the truth. It's like, yeah, that's okay, fine. Yeah, we can't go all night. We'll just move on somewhere else.
I'm sure one guy was like, "What do you mean one song?" And then the guy was like, "I know how I'll get out of this. I'll just lie."
Yeah, and I'm sorry, the machine is broken. Yeah, because he lied to avoid the truth, and it's like because he didn't want to deal with it. And it's like, meanwhile, this kid is like, yeah, sorry, man, we're not taking any more songs. Just one a person. I'm like, yeah, okay, man. I respect it, and you can see that, and that they're honest, they're acting on the truth. The same thing applies to Sifu, and to all of our Sifus. They're truthful people. They're honest, and you can tell, because there's no duplicity. They don't. What you see is what you get. They don't change who they are based on who they're talking to and what the situation is. They're not trying to get a leg up anyone.
Yeah, they really don't.
Yeah, because like that dishonesty can also be indicative of people's motivations.
Yeah.
So it's like that. Like
weird
that's what they're
vibes from
seeing.
people, and you're like, "What are you trying to do?"
Yeah, because why else
are
are
you
you
after?
lying if you're not trying to get something out of it or trying to protect yourself from something?
Yeah.
100%.
It's very weird. Were you finished? I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off.
That's pretty much
sure?
where I think I was going.
Okay.
I don't know. I kind of like sloppily trudged my way there. But
No,
It's
I
called
think
a podcast.
I think
We're
no,
doing it.
I think you're hitting a good point of just that there is something, and again, to me, I think based off our perspective, we look at these things as more spiritual than just social or societal. Of like, there's something to be said about humans kind of naturally, for the most part, being oriented towards truth.
Yeah.
Like we're calibrated towards like, oh, that feels weird. Again, even for ourselves, when you lie. Why do you feel worse that you lie compared to telling the truth? Like why? Like what would be the reasoning for that physical response? Like
There's an energy there that we just don't understand, and I hate to say it. And like, there's like a fucking energy, bro. You know what I mean? Like, like there's. I don't mean to say it like that, but I mean like, think about it. Like, regardless of the language that you're speaking, you know when people are angry, sad, asking a question, telling you something, making a demand. You might not know what they're saying, but how they're saying it is indicative of the meaning behind the words. You know what I mean?
When
So
I said, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
no,
off.
I'm just rambling. Go.
Oh, good. Well, but like that.
Good.
That's sorry. I was so excited. He's done. No,
shut up. Nice.
no, good. Nice
Score. Yeah.
Nice car.
Nice.
No, dude. But sorry. What I was saying before about conjuring up the spirit of truth is exactly what that pit in your stomach when you lie is that you've conjured up another spirit. The spirit of truth is no longer there. There
I mean, you don't have that pit. You're a sociopath.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're a godless and scary.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. Like we're conjuring up like whatever. We're acting on certain forces. You could feel it happening within you. It's not weird to say that there's energy, or that you can feel the energy of something because it's true. That's what you're feeling. You know, and I think that has a lot to do with it. So I think that's
I think it's a wonderful place
cool
to cap. I think it's a wonderful place to cap that topic for right now. If you guys are Discord members, please, tell us what spirituality means to you. Tell us your experiences, or if it's something you don't dabble with at all. We'd love to hear and are open to all perspectives and interpretations of what it means to you.
Or if you have any other cool stories about anything, those are cool too.
Yeah. And memes.
I like cool stories and memes.
So today we're going to be working off of the ShaolinTaiChiCenter.com. They have a pretty concise article about the history of the Shaolin Temple. Now we can go to the wiki and for more of whatever interests us. You know what I'm saying? So it says the Shaolin Monastery or Shaolin Temple is a Chan Buddhist temple in Danfang County, Henan Province, China. The temple's name refers to the forests of the Shaoxi Mountains, one of the 7 peaks of the Song Mountains, dating back 1,500 years. Shaolin Temple is the main temple of the Shaolin school of Buddhism to this day. The Shaolin Temple was built in 495 AD by Emperor Zhao Wen of the Northern Wei dynasty for the Indian monk Batuo. 32 years later, another Indian monk, Bodhidharma, arrived at Shaolin Temple. He was the first monk to preach Chan doctrines here and thus was honored as the first patriarch of Chinese Chan, which is, it's pretty cool to think that like it has such a rich history, and it's not just a martial arts school. Like, it's a temple that so happens to do martial arts,
Right.
Thereafter, Shaolin Temple was recognized as the origin of Chan Buddhism. In addition, martial arts have been practiced at the temple throughout its history. A legend has it that Bodhidharma found the monks weak and unhealthy after long meditation sessions, so he developed martial arts to strengthen them. This formed the basis of Shaolin Kung Fu. The unique combination of Shaolin Kung Fu and Chan Buddhism is the essence of Shaolin culture. So can we look at what Chan Buddhism is and what the difference is with Chan Buddhism and other Buddhism? I feel like it's more akin to Taoism. Like they're sisters of one another.
I'm also pretty sure Chan Buddhism and Zen Buddhism are...
Oh, the all caps just gets me every time.
Yeah.
What is Chan Buddhism?
What is it?
We're in
All right.
cruise control, bro.
So from the... can we zoom in a little bit? I'm blind as fuck.
Oh, yeah.
So from...
How's that?
Yeah,
Is that enough?
How is
that's actually kind of all right, but maybe a little out, just a little bit, just out, just a tad. All right, there you go, perfect.
Not perfect.
All
We're
right,
going back in.
so okay,
we go.
so yeah, that's good.
That's perfect.
So this is from Stanford, Plato.stanford.edu, Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. Thank you very much. Chan Buddhism. The Chan school is an indigenous form of Chinese Buddhism that developed beginning in the 6th century and subsequently spread to the rest of East Asia. Japanese Zen, Korean San, Vietnamese Tien, I think that's how you say that. Tien, like Dragon Ball Z. All right, anyway.
Oh, yeah. That guy.
Although the sinograph Chan transliterates the Sanskrit dhyana, or meditation, the Chan Zong can thus be translated as the meditation school. Chan was not distinctive within Chinese Buddhism in its use of meditative techniques. What distinguished Chan were its novel use of language, its development of new narrative forms, and its valorization of the direct and embodied realization of Buddhist awakening. In contrast with the epistemic... what the fuck is that word?
Hermeneutical?
Hermeneutical. I got a college degree.
I know a guy named
Hermeneutical and
Hermeneutical.
metaphysical concerns that shaped other schools of Chinese Buddhism. Chan's defining concerns were experiential and relational, concerns that fit most comfortably, perhaps, with the horizons of philosophical anthropology. Appreciating the philosophical dimensions of Chan thus requires some familiarity with Buddhist thought and practice, and the dynamics of their infusion into Chinese culture. This is like a smart person article.
I was gonna say, this is like, I don't have enough brain for all this. I feel like I'm getting
Can we go to a dumb person article that just sums it up real quick?
You want me to just tell you about it? I can just tell you about Chan Buddhism. Dude, listen to that article. Sounded
a
like
kind of Buddhism.
It sounded like it was like I was at a bar and like a political philosophy doctorate student was trying to sleep with me. And he's like, yeah, well, actually the anthropological morphism gonna the fuck are you saying?
That was quite. Let's take another look.
Let's try that again.
I'm exhausted looking at it. Oh, there's an introduction.
That
Wasn't the introduction?
all right, we did it.
This is like a thesis. Yeah, can we back out of this?
We were not ready for that much Chan
That's a
Buddhism.
lot. Yeah.
Can we find like an explainer video that maybe has like a sock puppet or something? Or...
Maybe one we can like color with.
How about, wait,
Are there any that like have pictures that pop out?
I like the ones with the pop out pictures. And
how about, what is the difference between Zen and Chan Buddhism? Why don't you go there?
right here?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest misconception. Chan Buddhism and Zen Buddhism are essentially the same. Chan Buddhism and Zen Buddhism are essentially the same tradition, but with different names in different cultural and linguistic contexts. Linguistic. Jesus Christ.
Well, it looks like the difference between Zen Buddhism and Chan Buddhism are similar to the difference between spaghetti and noodles. It's almost the same.
Yeah, it's literally, it looks like.
Let's go to the article at Quora. That's for dumb people like me.
Quora!
Yeah, that's more our speed. Look at this.
Yeah.
Little
Yeah.
answers.
Oh, yeah,
Only
look
like
at
2 or
that.
3 sentences.
They got-
I'm liking
they
this.
got numbers.
I know most of those words in there.
All right.
Look at that. Boom. That's a colon. I know that. Bam.
Mahayana, we're done. I can't read
God
that.
damn it.
All right. What is this? What's the difference between Chan Buddhism and Zen Buddhism? Let's see. This guy apparently knows, or does he? Is a predecessor and Chinese ancestor Japanese Zen Buddhism.
Is there more to this? Like if you click it?
It's like this is like somebody's Facebook wall.
No, but go. And Quora is a conversation.
Yeah, it's like a
page.
question
But see,
board.
they D. Go back. Go down.
Go down. So
You
right
see,
there.
they D. Like if you click that, is
They
there
D.
more?
Right here.
Like
they,
if-
they D though.
for you.
Oh, you
fucking
fucking
piece
whore.
of shit.
Everything's got a paywall.
Oh yeah, hey, you know what? Let me spend some money on Quora.
Yeah,
100%.
There's value there.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
All right, this seems good. We can just
This
go
looks-
right.
Oh, this is
succinct.
small.
All right, so let's cut out all that and go right to this.
No, honestly, I think we should keep it. I think I think we should keep that whole first attempt.
I think
that was-
shenanigans are good.
All right.
All right, but this looks way more our speed.
This is way more
good.
our speed.
Yeah.
I like this hors d'oeuvre for dumb people that we have here. That I can
Link.springer.com.
That whole last article was a lasagna. This is a bagel bite.
Yeah,
I'm with
Yeah,
you.
this is what I need. That's the level of complexity I need right now.
If you can microwave it, I'm on board.
Here we go.
You gotta use a toaster oven.
All right. Small on the outside, hot as the sun on the inside. Chan Buddhism is a major Chinese.
It just reminded me.
John,
You try to microwave pasta. It's like, hey, here's your hot bowl with frozen spaghetti, you fat piece of shit. Oh man.
Then you go to eat and you're like, fuck.
The microwave calling you a fat piece of shit.
So here's your hot bowl with cold spaghetti.
Oh,
Shit,
dude, we're eating leftover rigatoni bolognese the other day, and the new cat is just like, ah! And like just like scooped like 3 rigatoni and like half a pound of ground beef out of my bowl, just like, you know, like he's out of his mind.
He's asserting
He's
dominance.
out of his mind. And then we locked him in the bathroom because that sounds like animal cruelty. We placed him into the bathroom and closed the door so we could eat in peace, and we left him in there with water and everything. But then he's like, he's crying on the other side of the door as if he wasn't just like, give me your fucking plate. Yeah, yeah. He's literally like standing on the table like.
He's like he's like on a subway like collecting people's purses. He's like, come on, what I do? Come on.
Collecting, you mean taking?
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway,
gave it to me.
back to Chan Buddhism that we are disgraces of.
Because we can read.
Chan Buddhism is a major Chinese Buddhist sect attributed to Bodhidharma that emphasizes attaining Buddhahood. Enlightenment, right? The supreme Buddhist religious goal through enlightenment of one's own mind, which subsequently spreaded to Japan. Is spreaded the right word? I don't know.
I don't think-
I don't know, but I definitely want to live in the
Which
Buddhahood.
subsequently spread. All I know is that whoever wrote this is just as smart as I am.
Subsequently
Spread to Japan. We both have GEDs. Subsequently spread to Japan and named as Zen.
Just love the like you're like this is the Mad Hatter wrote. Subsequently spread it. Oh, would you like some tea? Alice.
No, you've started him on one of his many impressions
What?
that he does all day long.
What do you mean?
He's gonna go into his Hey Peters after this. It's gonna be a fucking problem.
Ladies and gentlemen, this Piggy doing karate.
Hey, Peter. You want to try some MDMA? I have 7 to 12 holes in my brain.
I might have some syphilis.
Yeah, that's what he had.
Syphilitic insanity. Well, mercury poisoning. Does that
Yeah.
give you syphilis?
That's why they're Mad Hatters, because they had mercury poisoning. They all went crazy.
We did mention this in a prior episode,
We
but
did.
I'm okay with bringing it up one more time.
We gotta bring
Yeah.
it back. Bring him back.
Yeah,
We can
every
talk
like
when
13 episodes, we bring up Mad Hatters. I'm
Yeah.
cool with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like a set of Mad Hatters. with
Specifically
hats.
13.
Yeah, I mean,
All right, so let's go.
Here we go.
We're back.
We're back, baby.
So, in Chan Buddhism, the word Chan comes from dhyana in Sanskrit, which refers to meditation, which I think they plagiarized the other one. Samadhi, one-pointed concentration or perfect absorption, but nevertheless goes beyond the meaning of dhyana to become the manifestation of wisdom with simultaneous perfect composure of the mind. So, enlightening yourself, enlightening yourself. Is there more, though?
Let's see.
I hope,
With its focus on personal enlightenment of the mind in the present life, Chan Buddhism is characterized from the other Buddhist sects. This is exactly what I was looking for. So I'll start that again. With its focus on personal enlightenment of the mind in the present life, Chan Buddhism is characterized from the other Buddhist sects by its disrespect for religious rituals,
The
sacred
disrespect.
texts, godly figures, or intellectual understanding, but instead emphasizes on meditation, intuition, master-student relationship, and practicing and realizing within the mundane here and now life. So that's really interesting.
Damn.
I do hear a lot, like when you start watching videos on Buddhism, or like if I've ever like really got into it, especially like when I first started training, I was like, what is Buddhism? What is it all about? And I was watching this thing that was basically like the story of the Buddha, like the story of the Buddha. And in the story of the Buddha, there's lots of Hindu gods. And there's him like under a tree and he's meditating demons away. And like there's all this crazy shit that's happening around it. And I think Chan Buddhism is more about the self and this life now, where I think what it's saying is that other practices are more about the religious rituals of things, and kind of like there is no I, there is only Zool, you know.
There is only the flying spaghetti monster.
God.
Hey, who brought the dog?
I love a good Ghostbusters reference.
Yeah. But you know what I mean, where it seems like, and that I guess is also then why Kung Fu would become such a integral part of Chan Buddhism, and why there's also, you know, the in the Wudang Temple, the Taoism, there's also that martial practice as well, because it helps you center yourself. Like Qigong says all the time, savage the body to spirit the mind. You know, like you do all this crazy shit with your body, and these things are becoming more of a mainstream idea now too. Like you know, like you discipline your body, you train physically, and you get your ass up and work out every day because it helps you master your mind. So back to the history of Shaolin. Again, this is from ShaolinTaiChiCenter.com. It says, situated at the central peak of Song Mountain, the temple was frequented by the generals and emperors of China. Until its modern renaissance, the golden age of the monastery is said to have been during the Tang Dynasty, which is 618 to 907 AD. At the beginning of the 7th century, a tiny army of 13 Shaolin monks was reputed to have saved future Tang Dynasty Emperor Li Shimin. When he assumed the throne, Li showered favors, land, and wealth on the temple. It thrived as the center of Kung Fu, with masters from all around the country. Shaolin Temple peaked in the Ming Dynasty, 1368 to 1644, and began to decline in the Qing Dynasty, 1644 to 1911. Whoa. At its heyday, it housed more than 3,000 monks. Its long history includes destructions and reconstructions, with the most devastating one being in 1928, when warlord Shi Yaosan set the temple ablaze for more than 40 days, destroying nearly all of its classics and records. Upon successive renovation, most of Shaolin Temple has been restored or is under reconstruction. Shaolin Monastery and its pagoda forest were inscribed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2010 as part of the Historic Monuments of Denfang. It's amazing to think of all the wisdom, knowledge, history, and factual representations of what really went on in the past that has been destroyed by brutish warlords. The Library of Alexandria, Shaolin Temple. I mean, like, how much is lost? I mean, there's that Napoleon quote that, history are lies agreed upon, or history is lies agreed upon. It's amazing to think that, like, where we're living in this narrative. They brought this up on Schultz the other day. They're like, I don't know if they did this to you when you were growing up, but like when I learned about the Civil War in high school, they told us that it was about states' rights and not about slavery.
State right.
So they just
what?
Yeah, they just they altered history to make teaching to kids convenient. You know what I mean?
But that's the thing, is that that's not factually incorrect, but. It's like states' right to
but it's
what?
like, come on,
to slavery.
Yeah.
That's why our economy is based on slavery. Hey, whoa! It's economic. You're right, because they used slavery.
Yeah,
100% slavery.
Well, we gotta cut that out.
Keep clicking the slave button.
No, that is.
I want more.
That is not staying in
Any
there.
southern state.
Give it me. Stop it, Ryan. Stop it, bad.
You have a slave button too. It's right here.
Oh no.
I forget who I heard say this, but basically, when you look at the history books and who wrote them, it turns out the good guys won every time. Would you look at that? It says it right here in the book they wrote, right?
Yeah.
Look, winners, the good guys,
It's like someone writing an autobiography, and he goes, and that's when I became king of the world, Don't you remember those years when I was king?
Right?
Yes.
Being gaslit by a book I bought for $16. I'm like,
I don't know. I bought this at the airport because they said it was a must-read, Like,
I'm being gaslit at a Hudson News at the JFK terminal.
I just want a bottle of Smart Water and some Skittles. Please stop.
Please, I'm trying to spend my $50 on breakfast.
That'll be $40
Hudson News.
Yeah, a buttered roll and a bottle of Smart Water. That'll be $78. Like,
Oh yeah,
cool,
when you're
thanks, dude.
when you're traveling for you, you're like, God, this is expensive. When it's all a write-off and a business expense, you're like, Skittles, 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 Skittles. Let's go,
Dude, yesterday in the city, I went to I picked up a bottle like that electrolyte. It's almost like a 7-Eleven brand electrolyte water. It's kind of like Pedialyte, and I crack it open, the seal cracked, and I tasted it, and it tasted like tap water. And I was like, there's something wrong with this. And like, and I'm just looking at the label, and it looked like it was shrink wrapped on, and I'm like, did I just buy like
knockoff water,
like tampered with electrolyte water? Like,
Yeah. That's like good New York water. You can make good pizza with it.
Yeah,
So you gotta think
it's got a lot of fluoride. That's what you need.
fluoride and yeast.
take that, make some blue raspberry bagels. You know, like think about that.
This can make about a dozen bagels as water.
For sure, and you give everyone cancer. But that, yeah.
Where's Erin Brockovich when you need her? You know what I mean?
But yeah, no, talk about like newsstand hydration. I tried it.
Newsstand hydration.
Thumbs down on that, bro.
That's so funny.
Yeah, well, it is funny. It's like, like I say, so much of history has been lost and rewritten by the victors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, well, we'll never really know what's real, which I think is also kind of a bright side thing about Chen Buddhism, that it just kind of like lets you be with you in the here and now, lets you kind of appreciate the here and now a little bit more, and also then understand the importance of the here and now, because that is all that exists. And with that, I think we will get back to more of the history of the Shaolin Temple next time. You guys let us know. There should be a little poll there if you're on Spotify, or if you have us on Instagram. Shout us out some questions on things you'd like us to dive deeper into on the next episode.
I was fully prepared to submit a suggestion in the Spotify poll thing, just anonymously. Like, why is Ryan so ugly? You know,
What's up with that?
Yeah, look at this
You
kid.
just make 35 accounts on Discord. Why is Ryan horrible looking?
Hey, listen,
Listen,
can you guys be less dumb?
Every media outlet needs a handsome Ryan. There's Ryan Gosling, there's Ryan Reynolds, and now we'll find one eventually. Yeah.
Well, there we go. There he is. Come on, say something to the camera. There. Oh, look at that. Yeah, that's the face of blue steel.
It's like Ryan's been smoking so many cigarettes he lost his lower jaw. You know.
Where to go?
Yeah. So something I has been coming up a lot for me in conversation that I felt like would be poignant to talk about on the show, and I'm sure it's something that we've touched on or talked about in the past, but we recorded an episode and I can't remember it because I have 3 brain cells, so whatever. But the concept is, if you don't ask, the answer is always no, right? So if you don't pose the question even to the universe, the answer is always no.
The squeaky wheel gets the grease, bro.
It's true. It's like you have to put action towards it. Otherwise, it's like asking into the void. You know what I mean? It's like, what do you want for dinner? And then you just sit on the couch and do nothing about it. You know, like
makes you just green beans.
So
you're like, God damn it.
The question comes with action. But however, this video I think will sum it up if we can watch this together.
Yes. This one.
The first one.
Not the one that says this video made me feel like a bitch.
No, that did make me feel like a bitch. We're gonna get to that.
So is it?
But no. Yeah, thank you. Section 3, yes.
Okay,
YouTube.
bigger or better?
So this is just a wholesome, inspiring YouTube short.
Do you have something bigger or better you would trade this BB for?
I don't use it.
Okay, thank you. Anything bigger or better than this paddle holster?
If you want, you can try.
That is bigger.
Ooh.
Sling. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Thank you. This is more unique, so it's better. Sorry. Thank you.
Can't qualify unique.
Oh, yo. Roll it up in a ball. It is bigger.
So can we pause real quick?
I know.
So to explain what's happening to the people who are just listening, if you haven't figured it out already, what's happening is this gentleman is at an airsoft field, I guess, and he is just asking people if they're willing to trade. Started with just one BB. If they're willing to trade anything that's bigger or better than what he's currently holding. And right now he's made it from a small BB to like a pretty nice looking camouflage shirt.
Sweet.
So, and now he's trading it for a gun.
Now he's armed.
I will take that. People are going to think that's staged. All right, let's do it. Dude.
Worst part is, you want this at a 249 though. I mean, look at it.
I have to go with the 249. Oh my gosh. Dude. Awesome. Good deal. Thank you.
No problem.
Look,
Brand new.
Chesapeake, Virginia.
It's brand new.
What's your name again?
Carrington, you're the owner, right?
Yeah. It's your birthday.
Right.
my birthday. Okay, that's yours.
Give me this?
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna have to come back and play. That's crazy, right?
Do you have something bigger or better? You would.
Yeah, so he just trades up and up and up and up and up and up and up until he gets like this like crazy expensive gun. Because I'm sure somebody had a collection. It was like, I don't have that one. This is worth a little bit more, but I'll take that. You know, like. And it just gives it to somebody who's at the guy's business and it's their birthday, you know? But I mean, obviously, of course, the guy apparently is the owner of the place, and I'm sure there's a little bit of incentive. But that's also, you could talk about that as just like kind of like using your charisma, using what you've got, using whatever you have to kind of like get what you want to get. Not about manipulating people, but there is kind of an aspect of how you say things determines how people are going to respond. So whether the question is, you're asking yourself, you know, like, do I want this? Do I want to be this? Like when I started my business. If I didn't ask, if I didn't ask myself if this is what I really wanted, I would have never known it was what I really wanted. And I would have never been able to be in business for myself. I would have never been able to do these things for myself. I would have never been able to go from high school dropout to college graduate with his own business. You know what I mean? I would have never made that if I didn't ask any questions. And so regardless of what it is, it's not even just literally physically asking a question. You know what I mean? Like, can I do Kung Fu? Can I train? I guess I better start. So if I never asked myself that question of can I start, the answer would have always been no. Can I afford tuition? I don't know. Let's find out. You know what I mean? And, you know, like, because I see that all the time. It's too expensive. It's too far. And it's like, fuck you. I lived in Babylon. I lived 45 minutes away from the school when I first started training. Or Kings Park at first. Kings Park and then Babylon. So I went from half an hour to 45 minutes away and still kept training. You know, like, I literally, people were like, well, you know, I got this job and the boss wants these hours, so I just can't make it to class. And I was like, really? Because I worked at Midas and I was like, you guys close at 7, but I got to leave at 6. And they were like, why? I'm like, because I train at a school. I got to be there at 7 o'clock. And they'd be like, that's insane. I'm like, well, I'm not staying. I'm leaving at 6 o'clock. So, like, peace. See you later. I didn't get to keep that job. But it was also a shit job. So, you know, like, whether or not the pay is great, if the job isn't aligning with your goals, is it that important? Or is where you're going to be in the next 5-6 years? I feel like sometimes we live so in the moment. Maybe not really even in the moment. But I feel like we kind of, like, go on this hamster wheel. And we just start going through the motions and going through the motions and going through the motions, and next thing you know, you realize you're 34, like I am, and you look back and you've done nothing. Like, I can't imagine being this age and not. I already have things I regret that I didn't do that I haven't done yet. So I can't imagine if I had never actually chased any of my dreams. I've spent the past 12 years trying really fucking hard at my dreams. You know, the only one that I regret that I'm not doing currently is music, and I literally have the rest of my life to touch it. And I just spent actually, like, last night I just bought like $120 in music theory books for guitar. So I can start again. You know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, so it's like, do I have the time for it? I don't know, but like, I'm gonna make the investment. I have the books forever, and then if I can find the time for it, then I'll keep working towards it. So is there a moment in your life where you ask that question? I feel like we've done this topic before, but I feel like it's poignant to do again. You're like, what does that mean to you? Like, what is that the first thing that comes to your mind when you think to yourself, like, if you don't ask, the answer is always no, and then a situation in your life pops into your brain? Like, what pops into your brain? We'll let John buffer for the next 10 to 15 minutes.
I think I need to buffer too. I think for me, a lot of it has to do with more on the, I think, like, business and film end. So, like, you know, both on the, I've noticed stuff like that, both on the, you know, like going up and talking to people at like networking events or just, you know, be like, oh, what do you think about this? Or can I do this? Or, oh, perfect example, actually, very recently, I, for the last 2 years, have been trying to get into like real estate videography and working with like architecture firms and things like that. And I actually, you know, we, you know, work with one for Sifunik at the school. But outside of that, I've been, you know, because I'm out east all the time, when I was like doing Uber Eats and I just like being out there. So like, you know, you pass like the really high end like real estate firms and architecture firms and like, you know, construction, you know, and contractors and stuff. And I would like email them all the time. And for like a year, I just sent like tons and tons and tons of emails with literally no correspondence back, no response. And there was this one place, there was 2 or 3 places that recently, after like probably 6 months to a year, I'm like, you know what, fuck it. I'm just gonna fucking cold call them because like I'm tired of not getting literally an answer back. Not even just like not even getting back like, hey, no, we don't need anyone. Like just like no response. So I literally one of the places I cold called was a place that I emailed, I think like twice, like once or twice, and I got no response. And I'm like, all right, I'll just, whatever, I'll call them. And I ended up speaking to one of like, I think it was an architecture firm out east. And I ended up calling them, and I ended up getting one of like the directors there. And I like gave the whole spiel because of course I'm all nervous about like giving the whole spiel about like what I do, and it's, you know, what if it's too silly, what if it's this, what if it's that, I'm gonna get rejected. And I just like told him what I did, and he was just like, huh. He's like, that's interesting. He goes, well, how would that work for us? And immediately is interested. Like immediately is interested. And it literally went from like someone I emailed twice to where to like being like, oh, they're not interested in me. Clearly, because I emailed them twice. You look at your emails. Why are you not answering me? To literally a phone call that progressed into, yeah, well, listen, I'll take a look at your work, and, you know, we'd love to have you come down to the office one day and we can talk, and if it seems like it's a real meeting of the minds and seems good, we'd love to bring you on board and have you help us what we're doing with like a pretty big architecture firm in like the Hamptons, like just because I like cold called them at like 3:30 on like a Thursday. Yeah, you know,
yeah, it's
stuff like that.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, congratulations, you. That's awesome. You were telling me about it the other day, but I'm very proud of you.
Yeah, thank
but
you.
it's like asking a girl out in high school. You know what I mean? Like if you like hand a note to your friend, she's gonna write no on that piece of paper. You know what I mean?
Right.
And also, if you're like, hey, me, you, Thursday, pizza, dick sucking, let's go. You know? Like,
Don't talk to people like that. Don't do that.
That guy's gonna be in court for sex crimes at some point in the future.
oh my God, why do I say shit like this? I say it and I immediately regret it, but it was funny.
That's why you said it.
Yeah, but
it's funny.
But like, you know, it's obviously coming on way too fucking strong. So, but if you're just like, hey, like on Thursday, I'd love to get something to eat. What are you doing? That's a little bit more direct, and there's more. They have to respond. Yeah, there has to be a response there, and the response is generally going to be honest. You know, you could have them cornered. Stop it.
Hi.
Also, there's a knife to their neck in this scenario.
Considering you feel unsafe, you want to get pizza on Thursday?
But no, so like what I'm saying is the email is indirect, so people can look at that and brush it off very easily.
Yeah.
When they're actually speaking to you, even though it's just over the phone, it's like, oh, this guy's like on the phone right now. All right, I'll give him a couple seconds of my time.
Yeah,
because it's easier to parse that and
100%.
actually get to talk to you and get a feel for who you are as an individual.
Because he seemed pleasantly surprised that I called. He was just like, oh, okay. What do you like? Like it seemed like something that like, based off his response, they clearly need or want or maybe have had conversations about, and it's just kind of like, because it's not only just like me selling myself to them and me and like I'm kind of on the chopping block. It's also like, what if you call someone like that and they're like, oh, we've been looking for this, and it just like fell in our lap because someone was proactive and decided to call us. It's like, that's, you know, but similar thing too, even like on a smaller scale, even with on the film end, you know, like being on film shoots and like us running behind, and like there's like a shot that I really want that like we should get, and like I'm talking to like the AD and he's like, no, we don't have time, we can't get it, you know, and I'm like, I'm like, but what if we did get it? What if we just don't listen to you and get it anyway? And he was like, you know, like there was one shot where we were shooting this scene with like the family that we were shooting for this film at a beach, and I was like, all right, we have the two, we have this whole moment of the mom and the two sisters in the ocean, and the mom is up at the beach, and the two sisters are kind of having this nice moment where they're coming out of the water, and we need this like big kind of like side view wide shot of like them coming out of the ocean with like nice landscape in the background, and then we got it. And it was like so worth it, you know what I mean? Like just to, but that, you know, kind of, I needed to break out of my kind of people pleasing mentality.
Yep, okay, sure thing, okay.
Yeah,
yeah. No, we're getting this shot.
I totally love doing what you want me to do, you know, stuff like that. And then it's like worth it, you know. You see the fruits of that breaking into that, you know, that discomfort, you know. But those two things are probably the biggest things for me.
And this whole conversation has reflections of what I was talking about earlier in embodying the truth. Because what you're doing is acting on what's true to you and speaking your truth into existence. So
that's a good point.
So like if you weren't genuine with yourself and you weren't self-aware, like the way that we described earlier, of what you truly want and what really sets you on fire, you can't speak the truth about it. And so you'll never attain it. But if you know what you want and you act on it and you're truthful to yourself and you said, no, we should definitely get this shot, it manifests in a way that is meaningful to you.
I think that's a really important way to kind of put all that together, is that like live, because also go back to what we spoke about earlier, is like living that spiritual life is being aligned with truth, but truth is not just like, this is right, I didn't act in that way and now it's wrong. It's like truth
Like
is
you
like,
wore 2 types of linen, now you get to be stoned to death.
right,
you
exactly,
know?
right,
Did
right.
you eat shrimp? Well,
Yeah.
get the mill wheel.
now you have to die. But more in the sense of, again, like, there is who you truly can be and who this kind of your higher self is trying to align you with.
Right.
And it's that, if you allow friction to be, and kind of dissonance in between that to cause, then you move away from truth and you kind of, you live kind of this disharmonious
I think
Yes.
unharmonious.
life.
Bad.
Disharmonious.
Disharmonious life. Not harmony.
Unharmony.
Deharmonied.
Ungood.
Not,
Right. So it's
right.
yes, what you said. Bad, good, ungood, unharmony. But
yeah.
you did that. You're proof for that.
Yeah.
You know the exact feeling of like, hey, if I don't bring this up, I'm not being true to myself and my creative vision.
Yeah.
Being true to yourself is there it is. The truth.
Yeah.
So it's not just about, like what Ryan said. It's not about fact or fiction. It's about, is this right to you? Is this setting you on fire or not? Or are you just gonna let your passion and your fire just sit under a wet rag and never truly reach its full capacity?
Yeah.
And that's what happens when you ignore the truth, and you didn't. And there have been these moments are what that is, and it's great. It's amazing.
And I think something to gird people against is like, it's when those prayers get answered, it's not always easy. Like it's it doesn't, just because you asked and the answer was yes and you got what you wanted, that sometimes then comes with baggage and comes with labor and with work. You know what I mean? Like, they called you back, so now you got this fucking job to do, and that job might not go how you think it's going to go. It might need a lot of troubleshooting, a lot of working, and that guy might be a dick to you for no reason at some point in time. You don't know how it's going to go. And it's just like when I was opening my office, I called the gym. I didn't hear back from them for 2 weeks. And then I told him no. And I was like, wait a minute, what am I doing? I went to bed that night and I couldn't go to sleep. I'm like, something's wrong. I'm like I was afraid, I'm like, God, like all this rent for the room, and I'm already paying this much in rent, and I'm not making enough money at my job now, and how much money am I really going to make there, and start with nothing, and then I'm going to have to work all these jobs, and I don't know if I can do that. But it's like, but do I have to do this for myself? And it's like, yeah, I guess I kind of do. So like, I really do got to do this for myself. And so then I did everything that I could, and I went to the bank and I took out a loan, and they gave me half of what I asked for, and I bought everything for the room and had nothing left. I had like $1,000 left as security money, which was not my rent payment. I was like 2/3 of my rent payment, and we still made it. We still made it. I worked 7 days a week. You remember, I worked 7 days a week for a long time. At the beginning of the show, we would record real quick, and then I would go to work.
Yep.
Yeah.
We would like record like, oh, we do 45-minute episodes. I gotta fucking go. You know what I mean? Like, and then other days where I'd call out because I'm like, we got shit to do. And then eventually I stopped working on Tuesdays, and that became a show day. So I still work on Tuesdays. I just do this now. So it's like, you find a way, you figure a way.
Right.
Sure.
Right. I feel like that calling to the spirit of truth and that kind of like that message of being true to yourself happened to me when there was one time at work. Not to cut you guys off. Was there?
No,
was
continue.
more to wrap there?
No, you're good.
Just wanted to make sure. So there was one time I was working. This was years ago. This was I think I might have been an EVS operator for like 3 or 4 years at this point. So
you're like 22, 23, something like that?
Yeah, 23. I've been doing this shit 11 years, guys. So it was quite some time ago. And like the launching point for me happened when one of our operators on a show became ill. Like he wasn't understanding words or numbers, and he wasn't able to perform his duties at any capacity. So the suits pulled me into a room and were like, John, like, we need you to operate lead. Can you do it? And the immediately, yes, on the spot. I've never done lead in my life at this point, which lead involves editing and kind of taking on more responsibility, like a lot of the playouts for the show. and it was for a dog show, the AKC. Back when they had them in New York City. I've been traveling around with them. It's pretty sweet. But yeah, it was that moment of uncertainty. But I knew I'd be I would be living a lie if I didn't say yes. It's like, I'm here to do this shit, you know? Like, so if I say no and I turn down that extra responsibility, then I wouldn't have been true to myself. So yeah, and like Ed said, if when that happens and those things get, like, you got to call back, you know, this could lend an opportunity for more things you need to take care of, more responsibilities. But the difference is when you get those responsibilities and they're aligned with what you really want, willfully bearing a load with regards to something that you feel you're destined to, or you're passionate about is not the same as just having a bunch of laundry bags like thrown on your shoulders. You already carry these up the stairs, you know. It's like that's where you find purpose, when you're willfully bearing a load with your passion in mind. And that's what happened here. I had a pretty heavy assignment. The woman told me, she's like, "Are you sure you could do this?" Because another operator had a really hard time with it, and she dropped a name that was like, "Oh man, that guy like does every Islanders show, like he's legit," and he had trouble with it, like, and there's doubt. Sure. But I persevered. I trudged through. They said it. I didn't just trudge through. They said it was like the best show that they've had in a long time, and it was my first fucking time doing it.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have had that chance if I didn't say yes. Yeah. And if I didn't act on the truth that I knew, it's like, I came here to do this. You know, like this is what I want to do.
Not only are you gonna have to ask the question, sometimes the universe is gonna ask you the question, and you have to say yes. Yeah. You know, even if it comes with some extra effort. So for those of you who think that things are impossible, I want you guys to pull this episode up on YouTube and watch this next YouTube short with us.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know what the noise was. All right, this guy right here.
Yeah, this video made me feel like a bitch.
It's about to do it again.
This is work. Had to go find a used tire up top. This is where we store them.
So people just listening, this is a man with no legs climbing a ladder, working as a mechanic.
Suck it in. Okay, I got it.
Getting some tires down from the top shelf.
I didn't have to actually climb up on the
I was a mechanic for a long time. This stuff is not easy.
Actually reach it.
It's not easy.
Tires are heavy.
Up on top.
Just being a mechanic, just doing everything he's doing isn't easy with all your limbs.
Wait, are these two different guys?
No, it's the same guy.
Actually,
one guy's got a beard.
Benefit in a lot of situations. In work, it's actually really handy. Getting under cars, getting up inside of a certain vehicle. I can work on a brake job or whatever I need right there on the ground. So it kind of is a benefit not having legs.
Dude, holy shit.
It's always funny to especially pull pranks on the customers. To be working under a car and then have them come out from under the car and you see their eyes get really big. I wasn't expecting that. What's going on? Anytime there's a customer really going off, they say, let me grab who worked on the car, and then they'll bring me up, and it's really hard for a customer to yell at the guy without legs.
After losing his legs in a traffic collision at the age of 6. Wow.
The truck grabbed my legs and rolled me beneath the wheels of that semi-truck. When the truck stopped, I was missing my left leg. It was completely gone. And my right leg was so beaten up that eventually they had to remove it. The doctors told my parents that if they did things for me, if they treated me like an invalid, then I would never be able to do anything on my own. And so instead of treating me like an invalid, my parents helped me figure out how to do whatever I wanted to do.
Awesome.
In fact, my dad always said, can't never did anything and won't never will. Can't never was a word that was acceptable in our house. I can't do it. No, that's not how it works. You can do it. You just have to figure out a way to make it happen. There's so many little adaptations that I use. A longer lever to push down on a bar, or heck, just get stronger so I can do what it helps having legs for.
Getting after it?
Well, I like to call it my booty because it's on my butt. It's my boot that's on my butt, so I call it my booty. I mean, it's something you can't buy in a store. It's something that I've just had to build over the years. For me, when people say, why are you even working? You should get money, disability money. I'm like, why would I want that? One, I'm not disabled. There's nothing disabled about me. That would indicate that I can't do something. And I can work as much, if not more, than anybody else. So when people look at disabilities as you can't work, I look at disabilities, okay, let's figure out how you can work.
Wow.
Casey continues to defy expectations and regularly competes in races and challenges. We're seeing him do a Spartan race right now and climb a wall.
I haven't done any kickboxing yet. I think kickboxing would be pretty tough.
That's funny.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you there, pal.
It's never been a problem not having legs. I do absolutely everything that anybody else does with legs.
Here he is pouring oil into an engine. Wow. So I think that video speaks for itself.
I'm a fan of that
There's
guy.
me climbing
sure.
a ladder.
And your nose repeating. We were talking about this earlier. I hate when reels repeat. But that guy is an inspiration.
That's why I wanted you guys to see it without me showing it to you. You know what I mean? I wanted you guys to see it first here because, like,
insane.
wow.
I'm wowed by that.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
taken aback.
I think that's a
That
perfect.
guy-
Let's just ruminate on that. I think that's a perfect place to end the episode. Yeah.
Dude, it's like, what
Don't
can't
limit
you do?
yourself. Don't be limited. You aren't limited.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
No, I appreciate you guys.
Likewise.
Thank you, everybody who follows the show and hangs out with us. Join the Discord, be part of the conversation, talk to each other. We can be there for each other as far as tips, advice, feeling down, don't feel like working out, don't feel like getting after it. We're right there to keep you motivated and keep you going. If you want to support the show and help us do this full time, you become a patron today. And I'll leave it to John to cue out the episode.
Alrighty. Well, thanks to all of our followers, and thank you to all of our listeners. And this has been the Martial Mind Podcast.